got a whole lot of stuff to talk about this month, and I actually watched all the movies and read the book I got and everything, so I'm ready to give some pretty good reviews on this stuff. We took advantage of the promotional offer, and we got Guitar Hero Van Halen a few months before it comes out. This comes out, I think, the middle of December, but this is a free copy, and it's obviously like a promotional one, because it just came in a slipcase. This game is very, very awesome. It's way better than Guitar Hero 5, just like I was hoping. It's not a whole lot of songs, but all these band-themed Guitar Heroes are usually pretty short. The songs on here are really, really fun to play, and I haven't played the drums yet, but I'm sure they're just as hard as everything else. The bass is pretty difficult on this for a change. That's nice. This is a really great game. This is the only thing that I can't really review very well. I got Final Fantasy VIII for $5 from my brother's friend. I beat Final Fantasy X last Saturday, and so I'm looking for another one to play, and this one just happened to pop up. I need to get a PlayStation 1 memory card before I'm able to play this, but I'm very looking forward to doing this. And I've never really owned any PlayStation 1 games. I got a book this month. I got The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This is so freaking good. I read 225 pages of it in one day because I couldn't stop reading it. It's set in the future, and there's a very oppressive government, and to show the dominance over the people, the government chooses children between the ages of 12 and 18, 24 children, to go into an arena and fight to the death, and it's like really intense, and it's so good. And it's a series. The second one is out already. I need to get that and read it. And they're making this into a movie, so I'll read the book before the movie comes out, though, because movies about books are, they don't usually do a very good job. I got 3 movies this month. Underworld: Rise of the Lycans finally went down in price, so now I have completed my Underworld collection. I really, really like this series, so I was very happy to find out that this movie didn't suck. I saw this in theaters. There's a review on it. I think it's on this channel. It might be on my old channel. I'm not sure. If I find it, I'll link my review for the movie in the sidebar. It's a little more in-depth. If you really like the Underworld series, you'll like this movie no problem. It's set in medieval times, and it's not in the future, so people don't just run around in leather trench coats and shoot people. It's all knights and swords and stuff, so it has more of a Lord of the Rings feel as opposed to a Matrix type movie. But I bought this at a flea market for $4. It's the Blockbuster copy, so it has all this exclusive bonus features on it that I haven't watched yet. This movie is pretty good. I didn't know anything about it. I just saw it on the shelf, and I'm like, hey, that looks like Star Wars. That's cool looking. So I checked it out. It's about a bunch of guys that go to try and break into the Skywalker Ranch to steal a copy of Star Wars Episode 1 before it hits theaters, and a lot of funny stuff happens along the way. There are 3 cameo appearances in the movie. William Shatner, Billy D. Williams, and Carrie Fisher are all in the movie, so that was pretty cool. You'll probably recognize a few of the people from the cast. It's got one of the dorky guys from Knocked Up in it, and it's got the main character from Balls of Fury in it. It's pretty funny. If you can get it cheap, you might want to check it out. Otherwise, I wouldn't pay too much for it, because it's not incredibly great, but I don't know, it's pretty cool for Star Wars fans, I guess. There's a lot of just Star Wars references throughout the movie, obviously. And I got this really cool Blade set thing where it has 4 Blade movies, and it was $10. I had never seen Blade, so I figured, hey, I should probably get that so I can catch up on watching Blade movies. So first Blade movie is alright, it's pretty cool. The second one is amazing. I like the second one the best out of all these 4 movies. The third one, they did a lot of things wrong with it. It's like cheesy and has really bad comedy in it, and Dracula's in it, but his name is Drake, and he's running around dressed like Chris Angel or something. And this guy's in it. I can't ever remember his name, but he was a mistake in the movie because then the movie became too funny and not serious enough, and Patton Oswalt's in the movie. The fight scenes in it are still really cool, so I don't want to write off the movie entirely. Then there's this 4th Blade movie that I've never heard of called House of Chthon. I watched it last night. It doesn't have Wesley Snipes in it. It was like a Spike TV special movie. It was independently made and pretty much isn't related to the series other than just being like in the same universe as Blade. It was really terrible. There was barely any fight scenes. You didn't know what was going on. Everything was really boring, really cheesy, and it seemed like a really bad horror movie or something. It was just really terrible, but this set is pretty cool. And then I got a whole bunch of CDs. I picked up the first Weezer album. This was only $7.99. I haven't had this yet, so I took advantage of the low price, and it's got a lot of great songs on it. 4 that you probably recognize right off the bat if you're familiar with lots of Weezer music. So there's nothing really bad about this Weezer album. Death Clock's second album, Death Album 2. This is pretty much everything that the first one had, only everything's a little bit more refined. It sounds a little bit better. They got better drums in it, better guitar work. The vocals sound much better. It's just the first album, but just amped up a little bit. So if you like the first album, this is pretty much the same thing. I got Muse's third and fourth album, Absolution and Black Clouds and Revelations. I did not have any Muse until now. Muse is pretty sweet. In my opinion, this album is a little bit better on the whole. However, there are a few songs in this album that songs in this album can't even come close to. So it's kind of a toss-up. I'm not really sure which one. On the whole, this one's better, but on individual song basis, this one's better. Breaking Benjamin's new CD, Dear Agony, I was disappointed by it a lot. I've been a fan of Breaking Benjamin for a really long time, and this album was pushed back like a whole year, and I really think they could have done better. There are about 4 songs on here that are really great. All the rest of them kind of follow the same uniform pattern. Kind of like all the songs in their last album where they start off really heavy, then it gets really soft, and then they repeat the heavy part for the chorus, and it just gets old, and they needed to try more things. All the songs are just kind of blurred together and you can't really pick them apart from each other. So this was a big disappointment. A CD that my brother got a while ago that I probably should have talked about but didn't for some reason. I finally started listening to it a little bit. Overcome by All That Remains. I don't like it too much. It's average. All the songs sound like everything else I've ever heard. I've heard some of All That Remains other stuff, and I'm thinking it might just be this album, so I don't want to write off the band entirely, but you can find way better music elsewhere. Some other things that I've been listening to are, I've gotten into the Black Dahlia Murder. From what I've heard, Unhallowed is my favorite album so far from the albums that I've heard. Not too big on their new album, but definitely really liking Unhallowed. I've been listening to This Is Exile by Whitechapel, and I like that a lot. It's really like epic sounding and dark and crazy awesome. A while ago, someone asked me what I thought of the new Mastodon album, and I wasn't really into Mastodon, and now I've listened to them a lot more, and I can say that the new album is probably the best thing they've ever done. It's completely mind-blowing. If you're not sure which album I'm talking about, it's called Crack the Sky, and it's got like 2 people standing on the side with like a thing in the middle. It's really cool. There's only about like 7 or 8 songs on it, so it's short, but I can't think of what to call it other than epic. I've also been listening to a lot of the Mountain Goats. They're kind of like acoustic, indie, awesome music. The album that I really like is called We Shall All Be Healed. I think it's a very well-rounded album, and I like every song on it, and it's just really great. I feel kind of dumb reviewing things because I tend to say the same thing over and over. So I'm definitely looking forward to this weekend with Halloween, and then on Sunday I'm going to the Waffle House and then going to this place called the City Museum to see Harry and the Potters play on the roof. That's going to be so freaking spectacular. Today I'm going to visit my new college to take a tour of it and to see how freaking huge it is. Throughout the month of November, lots of people are doing this thing called NaNoWriMo, where they write 50,000 words, aka a novel, within the month of November. Instead of doing that, I'm going to do Blog Everyday November, so there's a link in the sidebar to my blog. You should check it out. I think throughout the month of November, if I write a blog post that I particularly want to draw your attention to, I'll probably put up a video and link you to that specific blog post so that you can read it. I've been really bad at making videos this month, so next month I already have about 3 so far in mind that I'm putting up. So be expecting a lot of things to come within the next week or 2 on this channel.